Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the National Cycling Podcast, where three cycling nerds discuss the world of cycling and what's been going on this week. Of course, La Primavera, Milano-Torino, which Ewan's going to be very happy about, and of course, Lance Armstrong has popped up as well. But as always, I'm joined by Patrick Blake of Outdoor Cycling and Mr. Kurgan myself, Ewan Wilson. And as Ewan told us all, happy St. Patrick's Day on the day of recording.
Yes, thank you. I always claim this as like a second birthday, even though I'm not Irish. Contrary
Patrick's Day, they're done.
That's it. That's the whole episode. I'm actually a fraud. Oh, it was a good week. Honestly, that was such a good edition of Milano San Remo. I think it is probably the best one we've had. My last favourite one was 2017 when Kwiatkowski won. And I think this has been probably my favourite edition since then. It was very exciting, and it was really down to the wire. Like, you didn't know who was going to be winning at all until Philipsen crossed the line first, and I love that. And I do stick by my guns that this is guaranteed the best 10 kilometres of racing that you will see in a cycling season. And I stand by that fact, and I think it's been reinforced by this year's edition.
Yeah, had everything we want from Monument. We had dodgy team tactics. We had favourites blowing up. We had attacks, and it was nail-biting stuff all the way to the end. Yeah, I think this is a solid 4 stars out of 5 on the Monument scale.
How is it 5? Out of 5?
What's a 5 out of 5? Last year's Ronda, I think, might have been a 4.5.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever 5. Come on, Scott.
Yeah. I don't think that San Remo can ever actually hit a 5. I think it's limited basically to a 4, just through the fact that the race can't open up early enough, whereas like a Flanders can kind of be quite attritional. San Remo basically got the maximum score this time round that it can get. I think it's as entertaining as a San Remo can get.
That's true. Yeah, I agree. And it was like an interesting battle all the way to the end, with still the twists and turns. And we had a sprint finale in the Sprinters Classic for the first time since 2019, we could say.
And they're calling Alaphilippe sprinter.
Well, it was a group of about 10. Yeah. It's about similar to what we had. By the way, Alaphilippe was in top 10.
That's insane.
San Remo, which is incredibly impressive. And he had a puncture as well in the final kilometres.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow. Shut it up. I was saying, I think that Poggio descent really highlighted to me the importance of descending ability in the peloton. Like, no offense to Tadej, he's great, but he was quite easily brought back on that descent just by descending. Like, you saw Pidcock just bridge the gap, and you saw Van der Poel bridging the gap, you saw Mohoric bridging the gap, and it just goes to show that being a good descender does pay an awful lot. And I remember we said it in the recap, but I think it is one thing which Tadej definitely could do a little bit of work on, is his descending. It was certainly not his... he's not bad at it, it's just that he's average at it in the pro peloton. But, what's the point of being really fast uphill if you're not going to go downhill? Like, what if there's Jonas looks pretty fast in a descent now, so it's kind of like maybe a little bit of an Achilles heel.
Did Tadej and UAE play it wrong? It looks like they were running out of men on the Poggio. Tim Wellens was doing a shift and a half, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they ran out of men. I would have liked to have seen Del Toro being used on the Poggio. I think that UAE were kind of out of position at the Cipressa because they were just having to haul up the side of the peloton because it was only Kobe there with his mismatching shoes, which I love. And it was only really him pulling on the front until kind of the group, the fire rescue team, came in to try and set pace again. It felt like maybe they didn't get it perfect. I'm not sure if they did get it perfect, whether it would have made that much of a difference, but we'll never know. But I think it certainly shows that Del Toro he is a real force to be reckoned with. I reckon if he was there on the Poggio with Wellens, it would have been... I reckon Tadej might have had a better chance of winning.
I think Del Toro has proved in the past 3 weeks that he is really a genuine talent. Strada Bianca, he was really useful there. Tirreno, who's top 4th place overall in that race, and here he was a really, really strong teammate in San Remo. I mean, the team selection, I think, was kind of questionable to begin with. They could have thrown some stronger guys in, like your Nils Pollitt of the world, your Felix Gorshartners of the world, who definitely could have been up there. Instead, it was a bit of a mismatchy team that could have just been down to scheduling in general in the race calendar. There's a lot going on right now. But UAE definitely didn't send their number one team to support Poggy here.
Is UAE sending their best team to San Remo, like almost, I don't want to say it's like a waste. Basically, does Poggy need the best team to win now? Is that what this edition has shown? Basically.
But I think this was Poggy's best chance to win. Like, in terms of like the legs he showed on that Poggio, I think this was the best we've seen Poggy do San Remo out of the 3 times he's done it. I think this was his best shot. And there was no Wout as well, which definitely helped. But, I mean, does he need the team? I don't quite know if it really comes down to it in the end. Is his team going to make that big of a difference? He doesn't have the same sprint as everybody else. But, I mean, he still beat Pearson to the line here today. But if he had Tim Wellens disrupting the chase, or sort of Mark Hirschi if he wasn't sort of vapid, or one of these other guys here just sort of disrupting action and getting in the way or setting off attacks, then it definitely could have helped. But in the end, I do think San Remo might just be a little bit too hard for him to crack, a bit like Sagan to the 2010s.
Oh, I think Sagan, that was his own fault. I think with Tadej Pogacar, he's reaching to try and win this. And I mean, Sagan had the capabilities. He should have won this.
Yeah, I mean, 3rd place in that final sprint as well is fantastic. It's his best result from the San Remos he's done. If you look at the group of guys he came to the line with, it is incredibly impressive. Even being Mads Pearson, who had a sort of magic carpet to the end with Jasper Philipsen. Pearson, I'm sure we'll go on to him, a little bit disappointing on the day, given that it felt like it was going to be his chance at San Remo.
I think she must have been really angry about that. Because he was very bullish in the beginning, saying, like, this is the best Maspills and I'm going to win, basically, and didn't.
The team was well invested an awful lot in sort of controlling the race. And in the end, him and Sturven, that should have really been a golden double act. And the fact that he couldn't make the podium, it is disappointing. It's a bit like the World Championships last year, where he was sort of out-popped in the end by Poggy. Is he really going to be able to distance the others in a Ronde van Vlaanderen, in a race like that? This wasn't the best sort of showing of it, but I do think he is probably stronger in a Ronde than he is in a San Remo format, given his history at that race.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that, Poggy even said this week he wants to be, like, basically the GOAT of cycling. I think, but I'm not sure if that was, like, quoted out of context or what, but clearly this kind of San Remo not winning it this year, I'm not sure it's the kind of thing which would eat away at Poggy, but is it going to kind of start to gnaw away at him, like, this San Remo is eluding me continuously, and he's going to become increasingly outlandish in his attempts. Like, are we just going to have it's going to make San Remo an interesting race for Kingdom Come, as long as Tadej's on the start line hunting the victory. But yeah, it might just be that elusive thing that's just not quite the race for him. Like, it just needs to be a little bit harder. But the terrain just doesn't allow him to do that. I don't think it's too outlandish to believe that, is it RAI who organise it? It's RCS, sorry. I don't think it's too outlandish to believe that they may change the course and make it a little bit harder, like introduce another climb, just to, because they seem pretty keen, they were very keen to get Poggy to the Giro and, basically create courses which are suited to him. They might just be like, we're just going to throw in another climb just to make it a little bit harder this year. It wouldn't, I'm not saying it's going to happen, I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, that's what Ewan was saying. Was it last week? Just do another rep of the podiums?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. That can't be hard to organise. The roads are already closed.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, talking about the Poggio, there was an important thing that happened at the top of the Poggio the other day. There was a phone box at the top of the Poggio that was sort of historically being used so you could like sort of telephone down the hill and tell people what's happening in the race. That telephone box has now been removed. So this was the first time we had a Poggio where the phone box wasn't there.
I thought it was going to be something positive, Ewan.
I can double down. I mean, I can double down on the negativity. I saw this tweeted by, I think it was Daniel Friebe, that this year, the pre-San Remo coverage in L'Equipe, the French language newspaper for sports, was bigger than Gazzetta dello Sport's preview for San Remo. this shows that the death of Italian cycling it wasn't just a 2022-23 thing. The death of Italian cycling is really being accelerated here.
They needed Milan to win. That's what they really needed.
They need somebody. There's no Nibali to spice things up now. Gano had a mechanical as well towards the end. So
yeah, he did.
And a bad pre-season to Milan San Remo, so it's not like anyone was really hyping him up too much.
Yeah,
Scopo Santo.
Matteo Sobrero had a great race. I've been saying this all year. He's such untapped gold. He's so good.
I mean, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned the Italian who actually did very well this week. That
Best Italian.
Yeah, the president of the fan club as well. Certainly the Glasgow chapter. There we have him.
He's here. This is Alberto Bettiol, winner of Milano-Torino. Hilly edition. It wasn't a sprint this year. He won it actually by a pretty decent solo effort, and the group behind him really chased very well. And a kid I've been hyping up, Jan Christen, tried to come across the gap. He's sort of Poggy's protege. They've been working closely together for the past 3 years. He was on the Poggy team, which was Pogacar's own youth development program that he had. Then he got fast-tracked into UAE, but he couldn't quite catch Bettiol in the end. Then Alberto Bettiol took another race win. And he finished in 5th place at San Remo, which is pretty good going for the Tuscan Tornado.
I was quite surprised when I looked before the race that Bettiol prior to this year, didn't have very good history with San Remo. Like, this was far away his best result. I don't think he's cracked like the top 20, maybe even in previous editions. So really good performance from Bettiol. I mean, the fact of the matter is, when Poggy went, it was like Poggy, Van der Poel, Ganna. But Bettiol was right there. Like, he was like basically the wheel of Van der Poel. I was like, oh my word, like Bettiol is absolutely flying. So
he's a big race rider. He appears when you want him most. He's like the Messiah almost, you know? When the occasion arrives, he is there. And when that occasion is Milano-San Remo, Michael Matthews arrives. He was centimeters away from winning this. He lost his sunglasses in the process.
And also, that was tragic. That was like Sagan 2017 Arda Clermont getting caught in the coat, and he lost his glasses, and like I saw like Terpstra clattered them, and that was just like tragic. But it's this kind of innate thing of cycling fans, just to see like a pair of expensive cycling glasses just hammering their way across asphalt and just being like, oh no, the pain, I can't look at I don't even know what brand glasses they wear, but I mean, the point is, Michael Matthews did an insane performance. He is so consistent at this race, and this is his best result. And like you say, Ewan, he was so close. Like, imagine if he won. This would have literally been like career defining, because people always consider that 2017 green jersey that he got to be a little bit of a gimmick, because Sagan was disqualified from a race because of that calf incident with the barrier.
That was Kittle's jersey, in my opinion. Sorry, Michael Matthews.
That's true. It was. Yeah, so that's why people think that it's just like a gimmick that he got it. But if he would have won, this would have been so like absolute career highlight.
Well, he almost won the Worlds as well a lot of years ago now. But he's like this. Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't done better in Milan San Remo, because he's like this very strong sprinter, but also like does well at Amstel Gold, for example.
I think he's finished on the podium at the World Championships on 3, maybe 4 occasions. In Richmond, Virginia, I believe in Bergen, I think he was in the podium in 3rd place. And also recently in Wollongong, he was also on the podium there as well.
Yeah, he's a big stage rider as well.
I mean, he is mightily strong. He's come close to winning big races like Monuments before. And I am a little gutted for him, because I think he is the kind of guy who deserves a big race win, because I don't know how favorably history will look on him, in terms of the fact that he was probably a big guy at the time, but without that major victory, who's really going to remember him? So I feel like he's missed out on that. And also just sort of rising from sort of Caleb Ewan's shadow at that squad.
He was actually on the podium, I just looked it up now, in 2015 and 2020 in Milan San Remo. So maybe almost every 5 years he gets on the podium here. So fourth 2 years ago, so he wasn't here last year. So, I mean, he has got a decent record at Milan San Remo, 6th in 2021. Yeah.
I mean, I did tell you last week to look out for the Jacob Alula riders.
But you also put 12 other riders on that list. So
that is very true. That is very true. I just feel like Michael Matthews, he is reliable in this race. I don't think I would have expected him to win it. No way. But like a podium, I'm not like shocked. Almost beating Philipsen is pretty impressive. And just give a sort of moment for this podium. Poggy in his post-race interview was very complimentary about the podium. These are two of his closest friends in the pro peloton. Philipsen, former teammates, they're good friends outside of sort of the pro ranks. And Michael Matthews and Tadej Pogacar, who are also close friends. They live in the same sort of neighborhood back in Monaco, I believe. So, I mean, for Poggy, it's great to have all those pictures with his friends.
But, I mean, Jasper Philipsen, we haven't talked too much about him. I must say, a pretty nice guy. And the fact that he won this, like you both said, was quite a surprise, even though we sometimes still call it the Sprinter's Monument. But it was kind of the limit for him. Paris is his target this year, obviously finishing second last year. But yeah, and just selfless by Mathieu as well.
Well, he's trying to replicate Mathieu this year with a San Remo Roubaix double, it seems. But he needs to give sort of Mathieu van der Poel a big pat on the back after this one. And Jasper Philipsen afterwards was sort of saying, this is a huge step forward for me. Mathieu van der Poel afterwards saying, I hope he stays with us. This raises questions about potential sort of transfer in the new year. People are sort of speculating it could be UAE. He wrote that beforehand. They're sort of always looking for big name riders. But for Philipsen, this is like a huge step forward for him. Especially because, I mean, he does have that sort of status as the world's best sprinter with that green jersey as well. He's the first green jersey holder to win San Remo in the same year, in the same period as reigning champion since Eric Zabel in the early 2000s. So I think he's definitely consolidated his reputation as the number one sprinter in the world. It's going to be hard to argue against that. Where he goes from here, potentially a Keynes-Wevelgem win if it comes down to a sprint, but definitely that Roubaix victory is in his sights. But will Mathieu be willing to sacrifice his chances for him there?
I don't know. I just think of Philipsen finishing on a podium of Paris-Roubaix last year was just like a bit of a surprise. I think we can all admit. Winning San Remo this year, that's another surprise. And it's just like I say, I think Ewan's completely correct. Like, I don't think Wout is currently on the Gent-Wevelgem start list, and Mathieu is. So it really wouldn't surprise me if Philipsen takes the victory there. But could he be more than that? Could he be a Cobble Classics rider? Could he get is a Dwars d'Or an E3 too hard for him? I'd probably say that Flanders is too hard, but Dwars d'Or is within reach because we've seen that we've seen like when Dylan van Baarle won it a couple of years ago, I think it was, and it was like a mad sprint behind that. You know, he could definitely win that. I'm just kind of wondering where his limits lie. Obviously, he's surprised us 2 years in a row. What if he just keeps going? What if he ends up being the dominant cobbled rider?
He feels almost like what people were hoping, or at least the French were hoping, Arnaud Démare would have become 10 years ago. And sort of being that great cobble sprinter who can do it all, who can compete in a San Remo as well as competing in a Roubaix. Démare never quite delivered. I know he has a San Remo win in his books, but he certainly doesn't compete at the same level as Jasper Philipsen. I think Philipsen is a real talent. Whether he stays at Ampersand-de-Koning or not, we don't know. I'd like to think he'd stay at that team. I think he's got a really good sprint train there. He's got good command over that sprint train. I think that's really important in the sprinting game is to have that confidence and command of a sprint train, because at a different team that can all come crumbling down. We've seen it on so many different occasions. So for Philipsen, I hope he stays there and eyes up other big wins. When's the last time we had a sort of big proper sprinter who's also won Roubaix? Sagan doesn't count.
Wait, why? Why does he not count?
Because he was always this versatile guy who could do classics. Like Philipsen, I mean, he's becoming more versatile, but so if he's kind of more of a purebred 4-stage win sprinter.
Yeah, I'd say
on Bono doesn't count either then.
I mean, Bono kind of, yeah.
He is like Bono.
Yeah.
He is quite similar to him, which is quite cool. I like drawing comparisons to historic riders. It's like the second coming of whoever. Insert name here.
Yes, but Philipsen is the second coming of 2014 French prospect Arnaud Démare.
Yeah. I really hope he stays at Alpecin. I would hate to see him go to UAE, even though it would be like a cool bromance with him and Poggy again. It's kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, why would you go somewhere else other than with a prospect of, if you're not moving forwards, you're going backwards? Like, I don't know if that mentality can sort of apply to this scenario, but I just think that Alpecin just have complete chokehold seemingly on the sprinting game, other than when Merlier comes along as well. But yeah, I just don't see why he'd leave Alpecin. It's so dominant. And also, if he did leave Alpecin, outside of Van der Poel, their team would be kind of a little bit shallow, other than like Groves, I guess.
Yeah, they need to sign Merlier back, if that would happen.
Yeah, swapsies.
a bleak world we would be living in.
Basically, yeah. So Merlier goes back to Alpecin. Philipsen goes to UAE. Jakobsen goes back to Quick Step. Christoph goes back to UAE. Like, let's just start. I reckon we should just pick a team out of the hat, pick a sprinter out of the hat, and just do that every year, and just keep shaking it up. I reckon that'll be far more entertaining.
We should make it like the draft system in America. Just have it so like the lowest level World Tour team gets to pick. So RK Samsic, Albert Bear get to have Jasper Philipsen next year. That'll be pretty sick.
What? Let's lead out in the world.
But can I just, we make fun of RK Bear, but they actually did win quite a hefty classic this week in Coxedo with Luca Mozzato, the Italian sprinter who used to ride for the B&B team that ended up dying back at the end of 2022.
Here we go.
The Paris Cycling Club project, which I remember so fondly.
I'm surprised you don't have that framed, the team. Not just Betchel, but also them.
I'm going to write that one down. That's something for me to sort out when you put on a list.
Yeah, like you said, there are other races. But because you two were talking about Jasper Philipsen potentially leaving, or that small rumour, why don't we just bring in our first transfer segment? Yes, we're in March, but apparently there's already transfer rumours. Two of your favourites have been linked away. And I won't spoil it. So who are they?
I'm trying to remember. Who's mine?
Well, both of you. Okay, I'll tell you. Okay. Lazakano and Vlasov have both been rumoured away from their respective teams.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So the Sasha Vlasov one is becoming a little bit more juicy. There have been talks about Astana Kazakhstan wanting Vlasov, and now further into the week, Ciro Sconimilio of Gazzetta dello Sport is now telling us that this can be considered a done deal about contract renewal now at Bora Hansgrohe. So it was a glimmer of change for a moment, but it looks like Sasha Vlasov will stay at Bora Hansgrohe. It's a done deal according to Ciro.
Oh,
boring, snooze.
What is it with these big riders just wanting to go back to their previous teams? It's like, as the old saying goes, the grass is not always greener. Unless you're in Boracay, in which case it is sort of green, but it's kind of like a Sith kind of bleach yellow. That saying doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well.
Speaking of which, Lazakano.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's linked to he's linked to Bora. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't really think it's like an upgrade or a downgrade, to be honest with you. I don't think that Bora, like, Lazakano's abilities lie really as like a Cobble Classics rider. Does Bora give him more than Movistar do? I guess a little bit. It gives him an opportunity to kind of probably work in a kind of potential Grand Tour winning team. More like, no offense, Enric Mas / Nairo Quintana / whoever else they have, but I don't know, why would Lazakano, the big Spanish hope, move away from the big Spanish team? I just don't think that makes that much sense, other than just dollar.
Is he the big Spanish hope?
He's the big.
Whoa,
he's the big Spanish.
Have you not been one of these people building it up as well?
He's the big Spanish ruler.
U-turn.
Ayuso is the big one.
Rodriguez, fourth.
No.
Valverde. He's still riding.
Gosh, it's in some capacity, yes. But bear in mind, Lazakano is Basque as well. So, like, there have also been sort of cultural differences within teams that have pushed riders away from Movistar, particularly Catalan and Basque riders in the past.
Oh, pension.
Well, just like there are different kind of they don't have as much of the patriotism and sort of cultural connection to sort of the Castilian Spanish as the rest of as riders from other parts of Spain.
So we should just go to Euskaltel or Ineos, actually, because Ineos have quite a few.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what's actually going to happen. He's not actually going to Bori. No, actually, no, because Ineos can't actually lock down a transfer unless it's an 18-year-old, so that's not actually going to happen. Sorry, Lazakano. It's back to Bora for you.
It gives them a decent chance for the classics, because there's no real classics contenders anymore. Bora Hansgrohe without Nils Polle.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be. It makes sense.
And Mateo Sobrero, the new classics contender, him and Lazakano can be friends.
True. Sobrero's got such like Amstel Gold energy written all over it. Like that's definitely a race. He's going to be top 10.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say that. Jasper Philipsen's going to Amstel Gold.
Is it? Nah, that's no way.
No, he is. It's on his.
Yeah, but he's not going to be like winning.
Yeah. But it's just funny that don't often see like pure sprinters go to Amstel Gold.
Alpecin are really seeing where the limits of his abilities are.
Lombardia next.
Yeah.
Go on. But yeah, we might as well. So that was a bit of transfers. Lance Armstrong's been disgruntled this week as well. So much so that CNN also did an article about him. So yeah, apparently he wasn't hugging his rivals, whatever that means.
I'm not progressive. I don't know. What is it? You? I'm so lost.
I honestly don't have time for this story, but I mean, we'll go into it. So Lance Armstrong did an interview, and he spoke about how like the current state of cycling, they're not tough enough, blah blah blah. Like you see them hugging and sort of talking and making jokes after the race, blah blah blah. And in his day, they wouldn't do that. And he thinks it's like sort of, actually, I can't remember the quote, so I don't want to be done for slander. But it wasn't exactly favorable, and he was kind of saying that like the hugging and stuff is like it's too soft. It's just kind of ridiculous. I'm so over this. Like this like stupid machismo got them nowhere. You know, evidently really, really healthy time to be around in cycling when Lance Armstrong was in the pro peloton. Definitely nothing sinister or evil happening back then. Of course, disgruntled and like cyclist Lance Armstrong. But yeah, I mean, can we move on now? They wouldn't have been happy with all the selfies and hugging at the end of San Remo. I'll say that.
No, he was probably
seething,
fuming for just about to boil over. Well, I mean, Palmy does kind of miss like Bernardino squaring up to protesters and just like threatening to just start swinging. To be fair, it always happened in the Tour, like 2022 when there was people on the road. I swear they just got people flung them in a ditch.
I mean, Matthew Van Der Poel spitting at some annoying fans. That was pretty Renault.
Exactly.
But Lance Armstrong has had a busy week because his new fund, New Ventures, is also going into second round for $100 million of investment. So yeah, busy week. Maybe that's why he was doing all the comments, just to get a bit of extra push in terms of publicity. I don't know. It worked. We mentioned him, so
any publicity is good publicity, as they say.
Well, speaking of people who are a bit disgruntled, Patrick Lefevre got himself in a bit of trouble as well now on St. Patrick's Day.
What happened? What did he say? I can't even remember. I saw the UCI were like threatening that basically he has to like apologise or he's going to get a fine or something like that. Was this what he said like a few weeks ago or something? I can't remember what it was.
The thing about Marion Roos.
Oh yes, yeah. I think
yeah. Saying that him and her and Alaphilippe party too much and drink too much alcohol. That was just kind of like a stupid thing to write in his column. Did he not realize this would have consequences? He needs to be more aware of his consequences. Like, it literally gets printed. And I don't think it gets edited very heavily. And yeah, he has to, I'm just looking at the story here. He has to apologize, otherwise he'll get 20,000 Swiss franc fine.
Wow. What's coming out of expenses?
20,788 euro. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
That's a Sagittaire who's not getting signed up in the Italian classics.
Or budget hotels at the Tour de France this year for the whole team.
Back to Travelodge, boys. Do they have Travelodge in France?
No, but they have a thing called Campanile, which is just as bad.
No good that Travelodge sponsorship that we were working on.
Or Campanile, sorry.
We had other races going on as well. We had the African Games, which I'm not quite sure where that actually fits in terms of, is it like the Olympics, but just the whole continent of Africa, so they have all the different events. But a rider from Uruguay winning the men's individual time trial. But in terms of...
Wait, what?
What?
A rider from Uruguay won the African Games.
Uganda, sorry. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, my brain just went for the wrong U. But yeah, thanks for pointing that out. That would have been a bit annoying. We also had the GP Denain. I don't know if you guys watched that. That was a bit controversial as well.
I am a big fan of this. I think it's kind of like the underrated sort of Paris-Roubaix little sister that no one really talks about, but she delivers. And this year it delivered a very chaotic race. It was won in the end by Yannick Steimler in a sprint against Cyril Desal. This actually marks Q36.5's first win of the year. Steimler, you might remember, actually used to be the Walter level. He rode for Soudal Quickstep for the past couple of years. But the big sort of drama came because it was very wet conditions, very muddy, and the chase group all crashed at the same time. So there was quite a big chase group made up, being led by Stefan Kung at the time. And they were making really good progress into the Steimler group up in front. And at one point, Kung goes down and the rest of the group collectively falls over at the same time. There was about 10, 15 riders that all crashed at once. It wasn't a good look. And that group never came back to the front. That crash ultimately completely influenced the whole race, but it made for Q36.5's first win of the year in what is probably, a downgrade on their jersey from last year.
Yeah, well, it's just black.
Just boring right now.
Somebody needs to sort these kits out. I mean, Decathlon just launched a new one anyway, so, can other people not just come up some veto and just be like, change immediately?
Yeah, the Decathlon one came out this week because Decathlon, the company, had a rebrand. So they made a new jersey that is sort of a galaxy design. It's very 2016 Tumblr. If you were there, you were there. But Israel Premier Tech did something very like this last year, and it's just tacky.
I want big, blocky, easy to see colours, so that when we got a helicopter shot, I can see people. So it's not that hard.
I want to be able to see people.
Just like that Bass Tietma whatever jersey that they've got. Great, love that. That's really good. I think I want more of that, I guess.
I love how he has a team now, but we keep referring. It's a bit like the Jumbo-Visma thing. We call them Jumbo-Visma, even though now Wout van Aert came out with a thing as well.
Oh my gosh,
the acting thing.
But what was it? Visma Lisa. We need to start pulling our socks up, because what was it? They're keeping a tally, or you need to say their name correctly, and there's a prize or something like that if you actually say Visma Lisa bike rather than Jumbo Visma. I don't know, is there a cash prize? Because I might actually start caring.
There is some sort of prize, I'm not sure what it is, but like many things at Jumbo Visma, this unsettles me for a number of reasons.
Wait, whoa, you just said Jumbo Visma there.
Oh no.
Dude, we are going to lose already.
Asian Hat, may I explain my points, please? This feels like a corporate threat. Is that they're trying to incentivize us to say the correct brand's name, the brand who is paying. Visma. I'll say it all you want. You put a gun to my head. You offer me a prize. I'm going to say it correctly. We are not complicit. We should do as we want and not let a silly Wout van Aert Jumbo-Visma. We shouldn't be falling for this. This is stupid corporate stuff. Oh, I'm so tired of this. They're so good at it. Visma Lisa bike, stroke Jumbo, stroke whoever they were beforehand. Lotto and L Jumbo.
Rabobank. Belkin.
We
Blanco.
don't talk about Rabobank, Scott. We don't talk about Rabobank. I should keep my mouth shut. I'm going on mute.
This is just, yeah, I agree. This is just, the fact of the matter is, there has been some serious high-up meeting where they have said, we're sponsoring this team, and people aren't pronouncing it correctly. And then they're getting the knickers in the twist. And they're like, how can we, this big million whatever euro corporation, get people to actually say our name correctly because we're getting so butthurt by it? And it's like get Wout to make them stop. And it's just like, shut up, Jumbo-Visma. I'm going to launch a counter movement. I'm going to just call them Jumbo-Visma from now on in protest to this absolute BS.
Yes, corporate brainwashing is not working on the Echelon Cycling podcasts. Workers of the world unite. The only thing the proletariat stroke cycling podcasters have to lose are their chains.
Exactly. We weren't a big fan of them anyway. We slate Wild and Art of a weekly. You think we're afraid of you, Visma? Heck you, Jumbo.
Jumbo are getting so much free publicity as well.
Yeah, yes, they should. They're angry with it because Jumbo, like, I mean, I'm going to make a statement. Jumbo have the new owners of Jumbo have been involved in money laundering scandals. I don't know whether there was a whoopsie somewhere down the line where they're like angry at the fact that like Jumbo is now getting all this free publicity from them. So like they're out of spite, being like, you have to say Visma, you have to say Lisa Bike. Also, whenever I hear Lisa Bike, like I imagine like Visma Lisa Bike being like someone's full government name. Like Visma is like their like first name, Lisa is like their middle name. And then Bike is like their surname, so it's Visma Lisa Bike, like Lisa. If I have an animal, if I have a dog, I'll call it Visma, and then I'll call it Lisa, and I'll call it Bike. Visma Lisa Bike.
All that expensive sponsoring that they're putting into the team, all worth it. So
maybe I'm corporately brainwashed. Maybe it's worked on me all a lot. I'm wearing yellow today.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not actually for St. Patrick's Day. I'm not representing my home county. It's all just subtle brainwashing and the subconscious messaging from Jumbo-Visma stroke Visma Lisa Bike.
Anyway, I feel bad that I included Uruguay into the African Games when they couldn't even qualify. So there was a team time trial event as well in Accra, which is the capital of Ghana. So that's where it all was happening. And he had trio won, and Marawi Kudus was one of the 4 riders, along with Dawit Yeman, who I seem to recall did something. Yeah, he was national champion for Eritrea. So that was kind of me just trying to win some points backs after that blunder earlier. Tour Taiwan happened as well, and we actually had one of the Israeli riders from Israel Premier take win, Itamar Einhorn. He won 2 stages of the race. The race overall was won by Joe Blackmore, who we discussed a few weeks ago. So yeah, Israel Premier Tech doing very well on the Asian circuit.
Give them UCI question.
Yeah. But anyways, coming to Rider of the Week, and obviously there's been quite a lot of races going on. We haven't even talked about Tim Merlier's win. But who is your rider? Well, you and we pretty much know. Yeah, they has him in a framed photo. And you said this year he needs to win a race to get Rider of the Week. So I'm top 5. So
I actually wasn't going to pick him.
What?
No, that's such a low-hanging fruit. Like, he's literally here. I talk about him so much. Like, this doesn't add anything. Sometimes I like to shine a light on someone new. I'm going to do that this week by talking about 2 races we didn't even mention today.
I know exactly who this is.
Noir Atlantique and that classic Cholet Pays de la Loire somewhere in that part of the country. Both races were won in a solo effort by 23-year-old Paul Lapeira, who is a decent little sprinter, becoming a bit of a classic star. He won one of them with a 50-kilometer long solo effort, and the other one by escaping in the final kilometer. And he wasn't necessarily their number 1 pick for those stages. and those races, but he managed to get the win and convert it over in these important Coupe de France races where these French riders can really make a name for themselves. So for that reason, I'm picking Paul Lapeira because he's got 2 race wins this week, and I don't think many other people do.
I was going to pick him. No, I'm just scrambling. I got 2, and I'm trying to decide which one I want to give it to. One's very obvious, and the other one's a little bit less obvious. You know what? Because I've got a signature of him on my flag from the Under-23 World Championships in Harrogate. I'm going to give it to Jasper Philipsen for winning the Milan San Remo. But a sprinter has won the Sprinters Classic. Rejoice! World of Cycling Ciclismo is back. Hell of an edition of San Remo, and yeah, Philipsen just really showing that he just keeps on getting better and better. The limits of his bounds are currently unknown. We will wait and see how he does at Amstel.
Okay. Well, I could pick Betio, but okay, I'm gonna go for who was in the top 10.
Matthews.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I'm thinking Michael Matthews because I quite like that. That was quite nice. So Michael Matthews, nice podium as you said as well. And I could have picked one of the young Bahrain Victorious riders who won a 1.2 race, but those
too late.
Get back, I mean, I was strolling around Monaco, and there was a race there, and Philippe Gilbert was doing turns in the chasing group in some amateur race. Imagine rocking up to a local crit, and Philippe Gilbert is there. Crazy.
Having a crit in Monaco, such a freaking flex. What's the preem price on that?
That's Lamborghini.
You're going to sign me up. I will try so hard for that.
€10,000 check, tax free.
Yeah. I'll tell you, when we get to 5,000 subscribers, if this gets 1 million likes, I will try and enter a Monaco crit and win the preem. And I will donate it all to, I don't know, the National Trust.
Then be disappointed to find out there's only 20 francs.
You heard it here, guys. 1 million likes. We can make this happen. So share it to everyone you know, your mother, your father, your children, your cousins, your hairdressers, your taxi drivers. If you're just on the bus sitting next to someone, tell them to like the video. Because you know what? That money could go to good use if we donate to charity to end cancer.
Or do we have to put the egg? Do we have to put the egg in the thumbnail? Wasn't that one of the most liked photos on Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, we could just title this like the most liked video of all time.
Get this to 1 million likes.
But anyways, with that, eggs and everything. That's basically it for our 60th episode. Make sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel as well. Let's try and get it to 5,000. And we're also available on Spotify and all the various different podcast platforms. So check us out there, and check us out on Twitter as well. So with that, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next week.